Poor unfortunate souls. Well, one of them, anyway. Hey, what's going on, you guys? My name is The Raptor, and welcome back to another one of my Death Battle prediction videos. So, next time on Death Battle, after Dio vs. Alucard, we have Akuma from Street Fighter versus Shao Kahn from Mortal Kombat. Yes, two returning combatants yet again. Now, before I start with this video, I want to say that this prediction is probably going to be one of the shorter and less in-depth videos that I do, just because I don't have a ton of time to make this video. Like, my schedule has gotten really jam-packed as of late, and also because I don't have an overabundance of knowledge on either of these characters. I'll still go over some of their capabilities, some of their abilities and feats, and logic out who I think would win, etc., but it's just going to be less in-depth as some of the other predictions I've done recently. Just wanted to let you know. So firstly, talking about Akuma, Akuma of course is a very strong boy. Not only have we seen him break apart an entire island with a single punch, which I'm sure you're all aware of by now, he was also able to destroy an even bigger meteor in his Shin Akuma state in the Capcom Fighting Evolution comics, which may or may not be canon, but Death Battle did include that feat or talk about that feat in the Ryu vs. Jin episode, so it makes enough sense that they'll be including it in this episode too. That makes enough sense to me. And they'll probably also be including the Oni stage or the Oni form from what I've seen, like from their marketing and everything, but I'm not sure if we know exactly how powerful that form is at its maximum. We know that it can cause a volcanic eruption and survive said volcanic eruption, but I'm not sure if it has too many big spectacles of feats outside of that. It might, but I don't think it has too many either way. Regardless though, it should definitely scale above the Shin Akuma state, which means that it's probably like far above island level, possibly even reaching the range of country level in terms of AP and durability. Again, it's a little hard to say, it's a little ambiguous, but that's probably a good guess. So that means if you give Akuma the benefit of the doubt and give him everything that he has, yeah, that really adds up to some major power. Speed-wise for Akuma, we're probably looking well into the hypersonic range and possibly even faster than that. He's been able to outpace many of the faster characters in the Street Fighter gallery, and of course when you start including stuff like Oni, that would naturally make him even faster. And when it comes to stuff like his standard abilities or techniques, just to give a brief rundown, he has a lot of techniques that are similar to Ryu's Hadouken and Shoryuken, Tatsumaki Senpukyaku, etc., and Akuma has a lot of different variants of those techniques. So a lot of different energy attacks, a lot of different key attacks, a lot of different fighting styles and stances, etc., just a lot of variety. He can also maneuver through the air in various ways. He can punch the ground so hard it creates shock waves. He can pass through attacks by kind of like an intangibility teleportation kind of thing when he just zooms across the battlefield. You guys know what I'm saying. And of course he also has the Satsui no Hado, where you can tap into the Satsui no Hado to perform the Shangoku Satsu, also known as the Raging Demon, which is essentially an insta-kill unless you have some way to protect yourself, like Muno Ken, aka the Power of Nothingness, something like that. But for most people, it's essentially a one-hit kill. It turns your sins against you. But anyway, now let's move over to Shao Kahn, and unfortunately, it seems like Shao Kahn is a lot tougher to analyze. Mostly because it seems like no one can really agree on how powerful Mortal Kombat characters are, especially when it comes to the Elder Gods, the God tier characters, the higher end characters, and who even knows where Death Battle is going to place these characters in the first place, so it's really hard. There seems to be a lot of debate over how powerful these kinds of characters are. We do know, however, that Shao Kahn can contend with these kinds of characters. There's been multiple showings, including when he was able to fight Raiden when Raiden was possessed by the Elder Gods, but still that doesn't mean much if we don't know how powerful these kinds of characters are. I've heard arguments for universal Mortal Kombat at its peak, which personally I have a lot of trouble buying as of right now, but who knows, maybe I'll have to do more research on that. But I've seen a lot more people, including some Death Battle researchers, from what I've seen and been told, I've seen a lot more people place those kinds of characters at around the planet level in terms of power, which honestly I could more easily buy. That makes enough sense to me based on, the lore and their roles within the Mortal Kombat universe. I'm sure all of you guys have your own opinions on those kinds of things, and it's super inconsistent anyway, especially when it comes to the higher end characters. But when it comes to a Death Battle where you're looking at maximum potential, I think we have to give them the benefit of the doubt regardless. So I'm fine honestly rolling with that. Now Shao Kahn may not be quite as powerful as them, as he did eventually lose to Raiden, but he does have some other scaling to support it, so at least he can still contend with those kinds of characters, which is pretty darn impressive. Shao Kahn has also evaded Raiden's lightning in combat before, which of course puts him well past hypersonic in terms of reactions and movement, etc., and when it comes to his abilities, he can use his magic magic for a lot of different purposes. He can summon weapons out of thin air, including his devastating Wrath Hammer, or just create new weapons out of energy, so whichever one works. He can also teleport, he can create portals between realms, he can use telekinesis to a certain degree, he can brainwash people, he can just use his magic to increase his physical stats, he can reflect projectiles, and can expel energy in various ways. And of course, he can also manipulate and devour your very soul for more power, and just for a quick kill. Of course, he's got more abilities than that, but those are really just the ins and outs, for both Shao Kahn and Akuma. I am very well aware that the outcome of this fight could just be determined by what Death Battle decides to buy for both of these characters by the end of the whole process, because I know that we really don't know that for sure still. But regardless, by and large, I think it makes more sense to side with Shao Kahn on this one. Regardless of where you exactly want to place Shao Kahn, I think there's enough evidence to suggest that he can approach the level of the Elder Gods, whereas I don't think there's that same kind of evidence for Akuma that something like the Oni form would be able to even the playing field to that degree at very least, When it comes to techniques though, I will say that I don't think there's an obvious advantage there. They're both master martial artists with a lot of stamina and a lot of energy attacks. Shao Kahn can teleport and he can reflect projectiles, but Akuma can pass through projectiles in a teleportation-like way, so I feel like they're pretty even in that regard. I also wanted to bring up that you can make the argument that both of these characters might be able to resist each other's soul manipulation to a degree. Akuma was able to resist getting his soul absorbed by Necalli, although he might not be able to do the same against someone as powerful as Shao Kahn. Maybe, maybe not. I thought it was important to bring up anyway. And Shao Kahn has many different souls that he's consumed over the years that he could sacrifice instead of his own when facing the Raging Demon. Now, there's also some debate regarding exactly what the Raging Demon is or what the Raging Demon does. Some people say that it attacking souls in the first place is actually a bit of a mistranslation. However, I think for the purposes of this video and trying to predict what's going to happen in this upcoming Death Battle, it makes sense to just go with what Death Battle has gone with before, which is just that it's something that attacks your soul and turns your own sins against you. Now, obviously, Shao Kahn has a nearly untold number of sins, so from that perspective, it would be very effective against him. But if it really works in the way that you can only affect one soul at a time, then yeah, Shao Kahn would have some pretty darn good protection against something like that. So it is kind of up for interpretation. They may have the proper resistances or they may not. Again, it's kind of hard to say. But regardless of all the soul shenanigans, it does seem like Shao Kahn has some abilities that Akuma wouldn't have perfect counters for, like telekinesis, interdimensional portals, creating and summoning weapons, brainwashing, and just his other magical abilities. Shao Kahn is pretty arrogant and that has led to his downfall before, but I'm not sure if it would be enough to turn the tides when Shao Kahn just has so much up his sleeve that Akuma doesn't. Honestly, this isn't a fight that I'm super duper invested in, and I'm sure that there's 101 feats for both characters that I'm just not aware of right now. I could definitely see myself getting this prediction wrong, and that's perfectly fine. These are both really cool characters. I would definitely say that Akuma has the overall maneuverability and aerial advantage. He might be more agile and might be faster as well, but that's a pretty big might be. But in general, yeah, Akuma has a lot going for him. He's a very strong fighter, a very skilled fighter. But ultimately, just based on what I think Death Battle is going to do with the characters, based on what I think they're going to place these characters in terms of scaling and everything like that, I'm siding with Shao Kahn for power, durability, and having a wider arsenal. Again, I could get it wrong. That's perfectly fine, and I'm sure this episode is going to be pretty good no matter what, but that's what I'm going with. I'm going with Shao Kahn for the win. But anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give this video a like, comment your comments down below, subscribe if you could too, that would be amazing. Like I said, I'm not super invested in the debate of this fight, but I still think it's going to be a good episode. I'm really excited for what this episode has in store, and I hope you guys are too. But yeah, that's really it for today. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see all of you guys in the next video. Peace out.